Good evening. Good evening to members of council, staff, and to our special guest here this evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order for council for the town of Petawawa for May the 5th, 2025. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that yesterday was International Firefighters Day, May the 4th. This is a day and a time to honor and recognize the sacrifices, dedication, and bravery of firefighters worldwide, and in particular, the members of our firefighting team here in the town of Petawawa. We are very blessed to have a group of dedicated and skilled volunteers that keep our community safe, not only during times of fire to ensure the safety of our resources, our people, and our homes, but also through their prevention efforts. So again, thank you very much to the entire team of our volunteer fire department. We appreciate all your efforts. Secondly, I'd like to acknowledge that today is Red Dress Day, May the 5th. It is to recognize murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls. And Councillor Coutu will be speaking further to this during her councillor reports. And finally, it is with sadness that I recognize the passing of Amber Cronje. She's the daughter of Karen Cronje, who was a long-standing and serving staff member in the town of Petawawa, who left us for retirement last year. We extend our sympathies to her husband Ronald, and her sisters Sarah and Amanda, and please know that you are in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you. So I'm going to now read the land acknowledgement. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of the Petawawa Town Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Omama Winini Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Omama Winini people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years, and we wish to acknowledge our shared responsibilities in responding to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission 94 calls to action. Calls to action number 52. We call upon the Government of Canada, provincial and territorial governments, and the court to adopt the following legal principles. Number 1, Aboriginal title claims are accepted once the Aboriginal claimant has established occupation over a particular territory at a particular point in time. And number 2, once Aboriginal title has been established, the burden of proving any limitation on any rights arising from the existence of that title shifts to the party asserting such a limitation. Recent progress. The Government of Canada continues to work in collaboration with Indigenous partners to redesign the comprehensive land claims and inherent rights policies. I'd like to ask all of us to rise for a moment of silent reflection. The first item is the approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Murray and seconded by Karen that the agenda for May 5th, 2025 regular meeting of council be adopted as amended. Were there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, can I have a show of hands, please? And it is carried. Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest in any of the matters tonight? Seeing none, we'll go on to the approval of our minutes from the council meeting of April the 22nd, 2025. I need a motion to approve minutes. Motion by James and seconded by Lisa that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held 22 April 2025 be approved as printed and circulated. Can I have a show of hands? All in favor, and it is carried. Thank you. Now I am delighted to introduce Danielle Larente, who is going to be speaking to us about urban chickens and in relation to a request for amendment of bylaw 174/2001 to permit backyard chickens. I'll now turn it over to Danielle, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, Council members, ladies and gentlemen. As identified, I'm here today to request an amendment to 174/2001 regards to the bylaw for chickens in an urban setting. Next, please. So a little bit about myself. Next. No. Okay.
Well, there we go.
Okay. So I'm a military dependent. My father served 41 years in the Canadian Armed Forces. I've been posted basically throughout Canada with him. I've seen the differences in culture, communities, and things like that. And I see the value for potentially this. I probably served 17 and a half years in the Canadian Armed Forces as a military police officer, postings across Canada, all the way from Edmonton, Wainwright, Alberta, to Yellowknife, and Ottawa and Petawawa, where I ended my career. During that career, I was deployed on conventional and expeditionary deployments to Afghanistan and with the Special Operation Forces throughout the world. Following my retirement from the military, I pursued a career in outdoor adventure at Algonquin College from 2021 to 2023. During that time, I held the position of student representative, and the year after, in 2023, I was the vice president and president of the Student Association for Algonquin College. And then in 2019, basically, I was posted to Petawawa thinking this would be, potentially just a jump off from my retirement. Unfortunately, like I said, I was released medically due to mental illness, and we've called Petawawa home, and it's going to be home for a while. I'm active in the community. I'm a coach for hockey. I was the vice president for the Hockey Association for a bit. So I'm well vested in the community. Next, please. Topics for discussion. Ensuring the continued relevance, again, updating the town bylaw, urban agriculture within framework of the official plan, and there'll be urban chicken integration across major Canadian jurisdictions, evaluating the benefits and challenges of urban chickens for Petawawa, Hoskins Farm research, intent for urban chicken policy change, the urban chicken keeping guidelines, final thoughts, and then discussion and clarification if required. Next, please. So this is the current bylaw that's on the website of petawawa.ca. Again, it's very clear cut. Residential, you're not allowed. If you're not within the certain parameters of size, you're not allowed. The issue that comes up is the bylaw was signed in April 2001, which makes it over 20 years old. And the other issue is there's currently a draft policy or draft bylaw being used in relation to the urban chickens that has the mandate of not being on utilities. So if you're on septic and well, you're okay. As soon as you're, like myself, septic and town water, I'm not allowed to have urban chickens. But I meet the other requirements of that draft bylaw. So that utility piece is a sticking point to a lot of people being able to utilize that bylaw that's drafted. All the research I've done, pretty much all the utilities that run in everybody's house comes from the front, comes from the street into the front of the residence, and then wherever it goes. For myself, my septic is in the rear of my house, but I know where the septic bed is. I know where the weeping tile is. So obviously I wouldn't put a chicken coop there. That's home ownership. That's where you should know where you can and can't put things. Again, the main question I've gotten is utilities. Why does utilities matter? Everything's in a pipe. Everything comes from either the water treatment plant where it goes in a septic waste disposal area. So that's the biggest question I get from people in relation to the urban chicken piece on that draft policy that's being pushed out by the town, but I can't find it on the website. So that's a linkage that is missing. So we're getting the information from the front desk, which they've been great. However, when you go to do the research in the back end, nowhere to be found. Next, please. So the official plan. The official plan was adopted 15th of April 2024, and then the Renfrew County adopted or approved it August 1st, 2024. I'm not going to go too deep into the first two, but the third one is the one that kind of gets me. Study may be completed by the town to determine where livestock such as a limited number of chickens, goats, and rabbits may be permitted on private property within the residential, suburban, and rural residential designations. The study will assess the suitability of livestock as an accessory use in each designation. It will address location, safety conditions, human and animal, suitability of property, noise, odors, appropriate buffers to adjacent property, accessibility, fencing, and recommended bylaws and whatnot. So it's in the official plan. But possibility there would be, just like the Hoskins, they have a 3-year basically to see how it goes. It would be potentially the same thing, probably not 3 years. We could probably do it in 1 year kind of thing. But I think that piece allows us to potentially open the door for this urban chicken. So next, please. So I reached out to a couple of major centers that actually have an urban chicken system in place. I was kind of surprised the city of Kitchener has it. This is right from their bylaw enforcement. The city of Kitchener has issued approximately 270 chicken coop permits since 2017. Most complaints were for property owners who implemented coops without obtaining the required permit. They have received a handful of complaints regarding how permitted coops are being kept, and only 3 of those complaints were valid. So the city's doing this in, potentially smaller yards and smaller square footage, and it's actually a success for them with minimal issues. Next, please. City of Kingston. Again, this is right from their law enforcement piece. Originally began the pilot program in 2011. On average, the city issues 35 hen coop permits per year. They typically receive about 2 complaints per year from residents related to roosters, where the resident has removed the rooster to rehome within a couple of business days. Again, when you bring in chicks, you don't necessarily know if there's a rooster in that batch. Unfortunately, you find out when they start crowing and you start getting complaints. So obviously, when I talked to Rita, she said that's majority of the time it's the rooster looks like a chicken, and then he crows, and then somebody complains, and they're like, oh, didn't realize I had a rooster. So positive feedbacks from them. Fosters responsibility within family dynamics, creates potential growth, responsibility, teamwork, and leadership for parents to children. Promotes community, local food source sharing, sustainable initiative, health and wellness benefits, which include an excellent source of protein and vitamins, education and awareness. Most recently, the town of Smith Falls was reviewing potentially doing a 1-year urban chicken basically program. The last I saw was they were just looking at the financials at the town to, for bylaw and licensing and inspection, things like that. With that, if this was to be approved, this could be mitigated by a one-time inspection by town staff, much like the fire pit requirements. We get a 1-year or one-shot inspection when you hand in your licensing. As long as you meet the requirements or change requirements, then your inspection is pretty much good to go. This could be done by either the current contracted Corps commissioners or Animal Services Protect 5. No further staff would be required for inspections, and any additional cost could be captured by a licensing fee. As well, veterinary services was one of the things that was picked up by Smith Falls. I also did a lot of research in this. With the amount of agriculture we have in the local area, the veterinary services have the sufficient background in poultry and obviously larger livestock. And if all else fails, Ottawa has a robust veterinary service that you can tap into for agriculture. So that was identified by Smith Falls folks, but I also looked at it and there's enough coverage that could be mitigated within the area. Next, please. So evaluating the benefits and challenges of urban chickens for Petawawa. You can just click right through. The environmental advantages obviously contributes to sustainable living practices, supports local food systems, and reduce reliance on commercial agriculture. One of the most significant benefits of keeping backyard chickens is their positive impact on the environment. Chickens are natural foragers, and their constant pecking and scratching helps aerate the soil, reducing the need for tilling. Moreover, their manure is a rich fertilizer that contributes to health and vitality of your garden, providing essential nutrients that promote plant growth. I've driven around the town of Petawawa a couple times, and the amount of gardens I've seen in backyards, front yards, side yards, whatever. This is a win-win. Like with the cost of fertilizer and the cost of soil and things like that, it's free. Comes out of your backyard and you put it in your garden, and you've got the the rich soil to grow healthy vegetables and things like that. Waste reduction. Chickens consume food scraps, reducing household organic waste. Chicken manure can be composted and used to enrich soil, like I discussed. They consume kitchen scraps and leftover food, significantly reducing household waste, which would otherwise contribute to landfills. This not only minimizes your environmental footprint, but also provides chickens with a varied diet that improves their health and quality of eggs. Health and nutritional benefits. Provides access to fresh, high-quality eggs. Encourages healthier eating habits and greater food transparency. Having backyard chickens also promotes a healthier lifestyle. Fresh eggs from backyard chickens are often richer in nutrients compared to store-bought eggs, as they are typically higher in omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin A and E. Additionally, the physical activity involved in maintaining a coop, such as cleaning and feeding, contributes to regular exercise, which benefits overall health and well-being. I'll also add to that the mental well-being, keeping active. If somebody's dealing with, for myself, mental illness, instead of sitting on the couch and sulking and kind of, getting in a depressive state, I know I have to go clean a coop, or I have to go feed the chickens or chase them or whatever. I know that, and it gets me off the couch and gets me out there. So the health is not just the physical side, it's also the mental side. It's educational values. Offers hands-on learning for children and adults in biology, sustainability, and food production. Promotes awareness of animal care and environmental stewardship. Raising chickens can be a valuable educational experience, particularly for children. Observing the caring for these animals teaches responsibility, patience, and empathy. It also provides an opportunity to learn about animal behavior, biology, and food production process in engaging and hands-on manner. When I was up in Yellowknife, I had the fortunate to see how they kind of grow their year's worth of food and meat in 4 months. With the 22 hours of light, to see them use it to its full capacity, and it's not just putting lights over your garden and praying. It's literally sun for 22 hours, and seeing how people raise chickens and beef and pigs and things like that for the year is so educational. And to have an ability to, I'll use my family for example, to be able to show them how to do that is huge. To get away from computers and electronics and away from just being, static is huge. So to have that ability is one of the things that I look forward to. If this is one of the things that comes forward. Social and emotional well-being fosters a sense of responsibility and connection to nature. Can provide therapeutic benefits similar to those observed with companion animals. Like I said, somebody's dealing with a mental illness like myself. it potentially gets me off the couch in the morning to make sure that they're eaten or their coops clean or the eggs have been pulled out or things like that, right? So it's one of those things that kind of gets you moving outside in the environment and not just staying put. There are potential concerns in mitigation, i.e. roosters or noise. Roosters are prohibited under proposed regulations to minimize noise disturbances. The majority of the places I've looked at for the urban chicken program, roosters are not allowed. And that's because they actually are louder than a dog bark when they crow. So majority of the municipalities have banned roosters. There is one that I know of that still allows it, which I'm surprised, but it's not something that I would recommend if this was the push forward. So more on that after. Lastly is the odor management. Proper coop maintenance and waste management practices significantly reduce the risk of unpleasant smells. A properly managed coop with regular cleaning and proper ventilation will not produce odors. Backyard coops with a few hens are entirely different from an intensive farming operation housing hundreds of hens. Enabling a bylaw for backyard hens could include provisions around cleaning and ventilation. Yeah, like it's potentially 6 chickens. I'm not, pushing for 100 or anything like that. It's no different than having, dogs or things like that in the backyard. Your ventilation, your cleaning, you're not just throwing chickens in and just fire for effect and walk away. It's the maintenance and upkeep. They're living, breathing animals, right? So, yeah. Next, please. Okay, I can't do this presentation without obviously acknowledging the Hoskin family. They undertook a comprehensive community-informed research to explore the feasibility and benefits of urban chicken keeping along with the other agriculture within a residential setting. Their efforts included site planning, policy review, and public engagement, all of which contributed meaningful insight into how such initiatives can align with municipal goals and enhance local sustainability. By presenting a comprehensive site plan alongside protection and mitigation strategies, they have shown a strong capacity to plan and implement projects in collaboration with the town, contributing to meaningful community improvement and aligning with the objectives of the town's policy plan. Next, please. Okay, intent for the urban chicken policy change. The intent of this proposed change is to responsibly integrate urban chicken keeping into residential settings, support local food security, self-reliance, and sustainable living practices. This initiative seeks to align with community values and environmental goals while maintaining respect for neighboring properties and upholding existing municipal standards. By allowing for a limited number of hens under clear enforceable guidelines, the policy aims to encourage small-scale sustainable food practices, foster educational opportunities related to agriculture and self-sufficiency, strengthen community resilience through local food production, and ensure public health, safety, and neighborly harmony through comprehensive regulations. This change supports the broader goals of the town's official plan by promoting responsible land use, environmental stewardship, and community well-being. Next, please. So these are just a few guidelines that I found common throughout pretty much all the areas I found that had urban chickens. Number and type of chickens, maximum of 6 was permitted. Roosters were strictly prohibited. Sales and slaughter, the sale of eggs, manure, or chicken-related products is not permitted. Home slaughter of chickens is prohibited. Permitting requirements, applicants must submit a completed application to the town prior to acquiring chickens. A one-time application fee applies to cover administrative processing. Coop and run requirements, chickens must be kept in a secure enclosed run when not inside the coop. Chicken coops are not permitted in front yards. Property and residency conditions, chickens must remain on the owner's property at all times. The owner must reside at the property where the chickens are kept. So if somebody's renting their residence, they're not allowed to basically let the renter have chickens. All existing municipal bylaws continue to apply, including those relating to noise, animals, lot maintenance, and property standards. Next, please. So final thoughts. Based on the information presented and the research conducted by Mr. Hoskin, the benefits permitting the keeping of chickens within residential areas are clear and positive. Updating the existing bylaw to include provisions for urban chickens would align with the objectives of the town's official plan and position the town of Petawawa as a leader in urban agriculture alongside other progressive municipalities. Should further evaluation be deemed necessary, I, along with other residents of the town of Petawawa, respectfully request authorization to house up to 6 hens as a pilot initiative to demonstrate the practical benefits and impacts of residential chicken keeping. This initiative would carry no financial burden to the town, as I, along with other residents, are prepared to cover all associated costs to ensure the chickens are housed responsibly, humanely, and in full compliance with the applicable standards. Next, discussion and clarification. I also, before I end, so I was handed a petition of 60 residents within the town that are in support of this initiative. I by no way went door knocking or anything like that. It was local residents that came forward and handed it to me as a show of force that it's not just a retired army guy kind of coming forward and asking for chickens. It's actually people within the town that are actually asking for it. So.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Laurent, for your presentation. I'll now turn it over to members of council for any questions or clarification. Councillor Coutu.
Thank you very much. I appreciate what you've offered today. I really appreciate all the work you've put into it. I'm very much in support of reevaluating the bylaw and looking for ways to help people have more access to improving their food security and getting more property enjoyment. I think before we began the session that Carleton Place had also had a draft or a sort of initiative here. Maybe you could just speak to that as well for my colleagues' benefit. Thank you.
Yeah, so when I was researching the Smith Falls, their chicken mandate or urban chickens, they're actually following what Carleton Place put in place. They basically took their bylaw and they're reviewing their bylaw to see if it meets their standards or for the municipality. From everything I've read and seen, it does meet what they're looking for. And I think right now is just finding the back end, getting the staff work done at their level to really say yes or no that it is approved or not approved for whatever reason. But I think it's coming down to financials and just making sure that they have everything in place at the town office to be able to do this.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I'll just weigh in a bit. We had folks, residents in the area of Petawawa requesting at our last term of council that we look at this bylaw. Unfortunately, at that point, it did not get passed to examine. It was a vote of 4-3. Just by way of information for council, the planning department has on their agenda to review the animal control bylaw and zoning bylaw, which both address chickens, and that they're planning to do that this year. So I'm thinking that what we should do is we should just provide direction to staff to take a look at your proposed revisions and come back with a report to council. I think you've made a lot of very good points. You've made some very sound recommendations. I love the idea of a licensing fee, and I too think that we should be reviewing this bylaw for currency and for all of the reasons that you stated in your presentation. So on behalf of members of council, Monsieur Laurent, I thank you very much for your presentation, and we will receive a report, and I'm sure that the clerk will let you know when that will be coming before council.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now we're on to the bylaw portion of our meeting. So the first bylaw is bylaw number 1750/25, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement between the town of Petawawa and His Majesty the King in right of the province of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation, to receive funding under the dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation program. Before I ask for a motion, just to share with council that $74,546 is planned to be put in reserves and to be utilized for the 2026 period. So if we're in favor, I need a motion for first and second reading of the bylaw, please. Councillor Carmody, and seconded by Councillor Roots, and you notice I am not using your first names anymore, that bylaw 1750/25, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement between the town of Petawawa and His Majesty the King in right of the province of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation, to receive funding under the dedicated gas tax funds for the public transportation program, be read a first and second time. All in favor? It is carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1750/25, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement between the Town of Petawawa and His Majesty the King in right of the province of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation, to receive funding under the dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation program. This constitutes first and second reading of bylaw 1750/25.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion for third and final reading of the bylaw by Councillor Donovan and seconded by Councillor Coutu. All in favor? It is carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1750/25, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement between the Town of Petawawa and His Majesty the King in right of the province of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation, to receive funding on the dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation program. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1750/25, this 5th day of May 2025.
Thank you. Now on to bylaw number 2, which is 1751/25, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an Ontario transfer payment agreement to receive additional funding under the Fire Protection Grant Program with His Majesty the King in right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Solicitor General. Before I ask for a motion, this is the second a second bit of funding, $361.73 for self-contained breathing apparatus, and we had received the first larger payment in January of 2025. So I now need a motion for first and second reading of the bylaw. Councillor Roots and seconded by Councillor Coutu. All in favor? It is carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1751/25, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an Ontario transfer payment agreement to receive additional funding under the Fire Protection Grant Program with His Majesty the King in right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Solicitor General. This constitutes first and second reading of bylaw 1751/25.
I need a motion for third and final reading of bylaw 1751/25. Councillor Donovan and seconded by Councillor Carmody. All in favor? It is carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1751/25, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an Ontario transfer payment agreement to receive additional funding under the Fire Protection Grant Program with His Majesty the King in right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Solicitor General. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1751/25, this 5th day of May 2025.
Thank you. Our third bylaw, 1752/25, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 456/07 of the Corporation of the Town of Petawawa as amended. This is in regards to additional residential units, or ARUs. I need a motion for first and second reading of the bylaw. Councillor Coutu and seconded by Councillor Donovan. All in favor? It is carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1752/25, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 456/07 of the Corporation of the Town of Petawawa as amended. This constitutes first and second reading of bylaw 1752/25.
Thank you. I need a motion for third and final reading of the bylaw. Councillor Roots and seconded by Councillor Carmody. All in favor? It is carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1752-25, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 45607 of the Corporation of the Town of Petawawa as amended. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1752-25, this 5th day of May 2025.
Thank you. And our final bylaw for the evening, 1753/25, being a bylaw to appoint municipal law enforcement officers for the Town of Petawawa. I need a motion for first and second reading of the bylaw, please. Councillor Roots and seconded by Councillor Coutu. All in favor? Carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1753-25, being a bylaw to appoint municipal law enforcement officers for the Town of Petawawa. This constitutes first and second reading of bylaw 1753-25.
Thank you, and I will have us all francophone named by the end of the evening. I need a motion for third and final reading of the bylaw, please, by Councillor Carmody and seconded by Councillor Donovan. All in favor, please. It is carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1753-25, being a bylaw to appoint municipal law enforcement officers for the Town of Petawawa. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1753-25, this 5th day of May 2025.
And now we are on to correspondence. We have a warming center final report for 2024-25. I'd like to invite Councillor Donovan to present the report as she was our representative at that group.
Thank you, Ms. Deputy Mayor. This is the wrap-up meeting for the Warming Center Committee that lasted 2 years within in our county. Started as a program to ensure a warm, safe place for homeless individuals within our society or within our county, where they would be safe and warm. It has grown since that. It's changed kind of from that little acorn of being a spot for heat and safety into a much bigger oak tree, which incorporates all of the different services that the county of Renfrew offers. So they've managed to pull everything together into what they're now called, or what is being called by the province, a heart hub. So it's a one-stop shop for anyone who's looking for assistance from the county or their municipalities in terms of acquiring services. So this report gives you the information in terms of exactly how everything kind of rolled out. I've talked to it at a few meetings. Important stat to note was that there's been a 34% drop in fatal drug use within the county. We're moving forward looking at some 60 beds within the Care Force system once they have the staff and whatnot to host that, as well as the success in receiving $6 million from the Ontario government to help set up this hub and to run it for the next 3 years. I feel it is important as well to acknowledge and thank the staff, the municipalities, the partners, and the committed volunteers for their hard work, which made this project such a success. Happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, Councillor Donovan. Are there any questions or comments from members of council? Councillor Roots.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Sabrin. Thank you, Councillor Donovan, for the report. Very good job. I just want to make a comment. Very good job by everyone involved and all the municipalities who funded the programs in the County of Renfrew for overseeing it with all their services. Looking at everything, very, very pleased with everything. The only thing I'd like to just mention under expenses is all those Amazon purchases. And hopefully moving forward, we can see some more shop local here right in Renfrew County and in our local municipalities to ensure that we're supporting all the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Roots. Any other questions or comments? Having seen none, I'd just like to congratulate and thank the MESA team and all of the service providers who work together to address homelessness, as well as the other realities that people in our community are facing. Well done, second year, absolutely phenomenal. I was at an OSM conference this past week, and it's an estimated 80,000 homeless people in the province of Ontario. So I definitely think that this is something that other municipalities can look at emulating in their communities. So well done to everybody involved. And thank you, Councillor Donovan, for your membership on this group at this table. Okay, so now we're going to go on to minutes. We have,
Need a motion?
excuse me, thank you, clerk, for keeping me in line. Could I have a motion to adopt this report as information, please? Councillor Donovan, and seconded by Councillor Coutu. All in favor? It is carried. Thank you. Now, on to the minutes. Council and committee meeting of April the 28th, 2025. I need a motion to approve the minutes. Councillor Roots, and seconded by Councillor Carmody, and I've got to stop that. Any errors or omissions? Having seen none, can I call for the vote? All in favor? It is carried. Thank you. Our next set of minutes are the Petawawa Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting of January the 23rd. Councillor Donovan.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor, Deputy Mayor. Yep, this is one of our more recent meetings. I've talked to these points at the table prior to this. We looked at certainly starting to roll out our spring and summer events and what those will look like and what capacity they will have. Really focused on a community garden that will be totally accessible by the library, and managing how we're using our budget to make sure that we're promoting the committee properly and that our information is getting out to the public. If anyone has any specific questions on the minutes, I'll be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions for Councillor Donovan? Having seen none, I need a motion to accept the minutes of the January 23rd, 2025 Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting. Moved by Councillor Donovan and seconded by Councillor Coutu. All in favor? It is carried. Thank you. Now we are on to a very exciting part of the meeting, staff reports. I'd like to invite Chris and Ted up to the microphone to talk to us about, I believe it's 4 tenders. Thank you very much and welcome this evening.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Sabourin and members of council. Nice to be here tonight. And I will turn the mic over to Mr. Marcotte for the first report.
Thank you for having us this evening. We're looking for recommend acceptance of a public tender PW0225 Petawawa Municipal Building Interior Renovation. The renovation tender went out. The lowest bidder was Thomas Cavanaugh Construction at the amount of $269,900 plus HST. And we're also asking for council to approve a 30% contingency allowance in the amount of $80,970 on the top of the tender amount for unforeseen circumstances with renovating an older building. Might be the odd thing we run into. On a discussion point, the tender was prepared and advertised in our local paper, on our website and social media pages. 8 general contractors attended the non-mandatory site visit on April 17th, 2025. 20 firms requested tender packages and 3 firms submitted full tender packages. And the closing date was April 29th, 2025 at 10 a.m. And like I said, Thomas Cavanaugh Construction was lowest at $269,900. Wade Construction was second at $292,600. And Williamson Son was third at $294,000 even. So that our recommendation is to accept the tenders as we received them.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from members of council? Very good to see something come under a budgeted amount, and hopefully there won't be too many surprises, if any at all. So I need a motion to accept the PW-11-2025 award of tender PW 02-2025 Petawawa Municipal Building Interior Renovations by Councillor Carmody and seconded by Councillor Donovan. All in favor? It is carried. Well done, Ted. Thank you so much. Now we'll go back to Mr. Mantha.
Right, ready. Want me to announce it? I can.
No, it's a big job up here. I'm just getting the hang of it. So now we're going to go on to tender number 2, PW-12-2025, award of tender PW-05-2025, concrete works. Mr. Mantha, please.
Okay, thank you. Staff is recommending the council approves the award of tender PW-05-2025 concrete works to the lowest bidder being Greenwood Paving Pembroke Limited in the amount of $136,750 plus HST. The tender was prepared and advertised on our website and social media pages. 13 firms requested tender packages and 3 firms submitted complete tender packages on the closing date of April 29th, 2025 at 10 a.m. You have the chart before you in your report. Greenwood Paving Pembroke Limited being the lowest responsive bidder at $136,750. And under financial implication, the funding for this tender is included and approved in the 2025 budget. Happy to take questions.
Any questions from members of council? I just have one question. Do you recall off the top of your head what the actual budget was for this amount, please?
Yep, the budget for this year for concrete works under Public Works is $140,000. And there could be additional concrete works from other departments, but we're still right on budget where we should be.
It's excellent. Thank you for that. Okay, I need a motion to approve the award of tender PW-05-2025 concrete works to the lowest bidder being Greenwood Paving Pembroke Limited in the amount of $136,750 plus HST. Councillor Coutu moved and seconded by Councillor Roots. All in favor? It is carried. I think I'll announce the next one. Okay. Sure, I have the next one. There we go. The next one is PW-13-2025 award of tender PW-06-2025 hot mix asphalt patching. Mr. Mantha, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Staff is recommending that council approves the award of tender PW-06-2025 hot mix asphalt patching to the lowest bidder being Bonashare Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $100,155.50 plus HST. The tender was prepared and advertised on our website and social media pages. 9 firms requested tender packages and 3 firms submitted complete tender packages on the closing date of April 29th, 2025 at 10 a.m. You have in your reports the bids, Bonashare Excavating being the lowest at $100,155.50. The funding for this tender is included in the approved 2025 budget. Happy to take questions.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions from members of council? Having seen none, I need a motion to award the tender PW-06-2025 hot mix asphalt patching to the lowest bidder being Bonashare Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $100,155.50 plus HST. Moved by Councillor Donovan and seconded by Councillor Carmody. All in favor? It is carried. And finally, PW-14-2025 award of tender PW-07-2025 hot mix asphalt resurfacing. Please, Chris.
All right, staff is recommending that council approves the award of tender PW-07-2025 hot mix asphalt resurfacing to the lowest bidder being Bonashare Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $234,309.45 plus HST. The tender was prepared and advertised on our website and social media pages. 7 firms requested tender packages and 3 firms submitted complete tender packages on the closing date of April 29, 2025 at 10 a.m. You have 3 bids before you in your report, the lowest being Bonashare Excavating Inc. at $234,309.45. This tender includes the road resurfacing projects of Jason Street, and Jamie Crescent intersection from Carla Street to Jamie Crescent, and Eichstedt Road from Black Bay Road to Murphy Road. And the funding for this tender is included and approved in the 2025 budget. Happy to take questions.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions from members of council? Having seen none, I need a motion to approve the award of tender PW-07 2025 hot mix asphalt resurfacing to the lowest bidder being Bonachere Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $234,309.45 plus HST. Councillor Coutu and seconded by Councillor Roots. All in favor? It is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Mantha and Mr. Makhat. Have a great evening. Okay, so now we are on to councillor reports, and I'm going to start with Councillor Carmody, please.
Nothing to report this week.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Councillor Coutu, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Samurai. So I'll report that on April 23rd, I chaired an Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting. And from April 24th to April 27th, I joined much of the town at the Petawawa Showcase event, where the EDI Advisory Committee had its first booth. So it was amazing to be there and to engage with our residents about our new Stronger Together lawn sign campaign. So these signs are available at town office for $10. We also have a men's healing circle program that we're able to advertise in the community. And we were able to also introduce residents to our new logo that's going to be featured in our commitment to inclusion agreement that I hope residents will start to see in businesses around town. So that was a marvelous event as always, Petawawa Showcase, and big kudos to staff who spent a lot of time there really engaging with our residents and giving them information. So we have an amazing staff, and it was great to be there with them. So following that, on May 3rd, I attended the opening of Petawawa's Container Market, and that is a spot in town that continues to just be improved. So again, big kudos to our economic development group, but also our public works who helped to add another container to that space. So it's even bigger and better this year, and I can't wait to go out every weekend till it closes. But to draw attention to a very important today, and the Deputy Mayor already alluded to this. So today is May 5th. It's known as Red Dress Day, but it's also the National Day of Awareness and Remembrance for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, and 2S LGBTIA+ persons. So happening right now in town, in fact, is a march. So the Petawawa Youth Haven Center has organized a walk in town, and there's a group of people out there right now raising awareness. So I'm going to share just a little data from the Canadian Institute of Health Research. So in Canada, more than 6 in 10 Indigenous women have experienced physical or sexual assault in their lifetime. So what I'm trying to draw attention to is the fact that Indigenous women and girls bear a disproportionate high rate of violence, and it's felt in all areas of their lives. So on this day of remembrance, we have to remember that action is important. So I just want to call some calls to action up. So one is honoring the lives of our missing and murdered relatives. So this is something that the Indigenous community is doing right now, and we can reach out and help them remember these women who've been lost and remember their impact on their communities. We can also shed light on the countless tragedies that impact Native women and communities, because these tragedies are ongoing. We can highlight the need for ongoing grassroots advocacy, and we can organize for changing laws, policies, and protocols, and work to allocate more resources to Indigenous women and girls, and share information, stand together, and ask for change. So this is something that I'm seeing in our community. There's lots of people coming together on this. And if you missed the walk tonight, I just wanted to invite everyone to another event. So also on the same topic, Moose Hide Campaign Day is happening on May 15th. So there's another walk organized 6 p.m. at the Kin Hut, and we'll just have a slow and easy route up and down the multi-use pathway. But this is an opportunity to come out and stand in solidarity and be counted and have your voice heard, and just help be a part of this movement who wants to call attention to this issue and, again, lift each other up as a community and ask for that change. So thank you for your time tonight. This was very important to me to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Coutu. And yes, for sure, 6 in 10 Indigenous women is a statistic we definitely want to see go down or be eliminated altogether. So thank you very much. And I did notice when you were talking about Showcase that Councillor Carmody did one of those. Oh, I forgot. So he was also at Showcase, but you don't get a second chance, James. So now I'll go on to Councillor Donovan, please.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. The 24th of April was our last Accessibility Committee meeting. So again, we were working on getting our plans in place for the summer and spring events that we have coming up. I was at Showcase during the 25-27 April. It was a great day, lots of good people out to chat with. 28th of April, I had the final meeting of the Warming Center Committee that morning. And then on the 30th of April to the 2nd of May, I attended the OSUM conference, which is the Ontario Small Urban Municipalities Conference. Lots of good information, did a lot of really great networking. So yeah, that would be my last 2 weeks. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Donovan. Councillor Roots, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. On April 25th, I participated in the town booth at the Civic Center and really enjoyed talking to the residents about all the good things that are going on in the town of Petawawa. That's everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roots. For myself, during the month of April, I participated in many activities to bring forward community involvement in Pride this year, and we're working together the town and the garrison towards this event. On the 8th of April, I attended Code of Conduct training. On the 10th of April, it was the Leeuwarden Planning Committee meeting. On the 12th of April, I attended Beatlemania at Festival Hall, and wow, what a show that was. Lots of fun. 2 songs I didn't know. I feel sorry for the people sitting in front of me because I was singing. On the 14th and 15th of April, I participated in many of the Leeuwarden activities, as well as the breakfast, the parade, the lunch, and then the dinner at Doghouse, featuring singer-storyteller Gillen Roots, who entertained us with lots of history. So it was very much appreciated. On the 23rd of April, I attended the Police Services Detachment Board meeting in the afternoon and the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion meeting in the evening. The 25th and 26th, I was at Showcase in various times in my capacity with EDI, Police Services Detachment Board, as well as the town. And then on the 27th, I just wandered around and to see what was there. And I just like to thank all the vendors that came out. You really are why it's so successful. And as Councillor Coutu mentioned, we had a number of booths in from the town of Petawawa, and thanks to the staff and all council members who came out to share their knowledge and take questions and comments and bouquets and suggestions from our community, and to our community, of course, in Petawawa and within the county of Renfrew for coming out in full force. On the 30th of April to the 2nd of May, I attended the OSUM conference in Collingwood. Among some of the hot topics were tariffs and the trade war and what that's going to mean to municipalities, voter engagement as we have elections coming up next year, and affordable housing. And certainly the feds are wanting to jump on board to assist with affordable housing along with our own province. So we'll more to come on that. We'll see how that goes. Okay, and now we are on to a closed meeting, and I do not believe there's a closed meeting. There is not a closed. And last but not least, we have our confirming bylaw. I need a motion to pass the confirming bylaw 1754-25 by Councillor Roots and seconded by Councillor Donovan. All in favor? It is carried. That bylaw 1754-25 be read a first, second, and third time and passed.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1754-25, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on May 5th, 2025. This constitutes first, second, and third reading shorter bylaw 1754-25, this 5th day of May, 2025.
Thank you, and that's all tonight. I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Coutu and seconded by Councillor Carmody that the meeting be adjourned at 7:28 at the call of the Deputy Mayor. All in favor? We are done. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this evening.